will be able to provide better support for those communities. Now, another thing, I have ESOL, English as a second language background. Um, in the classroom, I always, as a teacher, I always took the time to wait. And I always understand that acquiring a language to achieve a proficiency, these students need to have opportunities to practice this language. So in our work with our students, in our school schedule, we really need to leave room and space for our teachers and students to interact, to create this learner community. We need to leave time and space in our school calendar for the school and the community to be able to gather together to create that learner community so that everyone feels that they are part of it, we are all learning, and we are all collaborators on this journey of learning. So I think that's how we approach helping different communities.
Thank you so much for sharing. All right, I'm going to open the floor up. I don't want to be the only person asking questions. We have a few parents in the audience, educators. So who would like to go first? What questions do you have? Sure. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Luis Vasquez. I'm the vice president of the PTA. But today I'm not speaking for the PTA. I'm speaking on my own. And I have two questions, important questions. Like, why is so hard to get things done through MCEA? Why it takes so long? Why so much bureaucracy for things to get done in school? Just example. Miss Collins requests a soccer goal for the field. A year ago, we need shade in the playground because it's a crime to have our kids going out there when it's 80, 85 degrees after they finish having lunch here. I don't know what MCPS is waiting for, so somebody get a heat stroke or be on the news and then take action. Like you guys said, we need to be proactive, not reactive to things. Another thing is we also have issues with the temperature in the classroom. It's too cold. It's too cold. And I'm afraid to ask that Ms. Coleman try to go to NCPS and we're gonna hear something in the next 10 years. So we need to have a point of contact. We need to be able to call someone, not a voicemail recorder. Be like, yes, it will take 2 months. We're working on it. I mean, why so hard? For the money our superintendent makes, things should be like snappy.
Well, speaking of
Oh,
snapping.
We are the richest county, one of the richest counties in the United States.
Number 19.
Our budget is 2.9 billion. 2.9 billion. Why things cannot get done in school? We need more personnel in school. We have, especially in school. We need personnel. We can't get it. Why? I know it's not money because the money we have. All right. So my question was, how can you fix this problem in MCPS? How can you help us to get more personnel at our elementary?
So, thank you so much for the question. So, I'm Julie Yan. I'm a candidate for Board of Education. I'm not sitting on
I know.
Board of Education,
I know.
but I truly understand your frustration. Okay. So, one of my friends said that 3 billion budget is a lot of money until you get to spend it. Because we do have 210 schools and almost 160,000 students. But that is not excuse. We need to improve our service for our students. Now, one of the roles, I was sharing the roles of Board of Education, right? As someone that decides why and what we do, and the school system figure out how and when we do. But I will go a step further because the public vote for Board of Education members. The public does not vote for the superintendent of the school district. So we need to be a voice for the community and be the advocate for the communities. So if we see that there are constant issues in one area, we need to nudge the school system, say, this has been a recurring issue. We hear from community members. Please address this issue. Okay. The second thing we do is, as a board, we need to hold the school system accountable. So we have made these investments in our schools. We have the maintenance of effort. We have a budget. We have a lot of programs put in place. Are they being effective? Do we ask to see the results of our programs? If they're not working, how can we improve them or put in different programs? Now, in terms of and also in terms of connections. So if you email me, the board member, I wouldn't say, oh, that should be the system. We need to be the connector between the community and the school system, get you to the right people and get the right people together to help you resolve this problem. So I really feel that there are things we can do, work better with the system, with the parents. The board has a responsibility for better advocate. Speaking of advocate, there's some other things I think we need to be an advocate for. We need to be a stronger advocate at the state level, at the county level, working with our General Assembly and county councils. The playground being hot, there might be things that we can partner with Department of Park and Recreation. Some of them take care of some of our fields, right? So we need to be constantly talking to those agencies, not just during budget time, the 2 months of the budget time, because at that time we are fighting how big a piece of pie you have, how big a piece of pie I have. Instead, if we have year-long conversations that we know the different priority, different needs in the community, we might be able to collaborate so that it is not your territory or my territory, it's our work together. Another thing about the advocacy piece is we need to be, you have a child in our school system, but for our two,
Yes, twins.
you have two in our school. But as our county has over 1 million people, there are a significant percentage of people that do not have children in our school system. Joe doesn't have one. I don't have one now. I just recently don't have one. So how do we get the buy-ins from the community so that they will continue to support our efforts? And how can we go to our community and get their resources, get their talent to come in? And that's our advocacy in the community. So advocate with our state partners, advocate for our students, advocate in the community so that they know our strategic planning, they have their buy-ins, they come and invest in our school. So all these things, I hope, with collaboration with my colleagues, we can start a new culture, a culture of openness, a culture of collaboration, so that we can better address the issues that you brought up. Thank you so much for sharing.
And I just like to say something on behalf of Valerie, because she just, if you follow her on social media, just addressed this issue exactly today with a comment as well. And I think it's important to realize that Julie is running against an incumbent, correct? And Valerie is as well. And they're the ones making the decisions of where this money should go as well. And I think it's important to realize that that's why we need new voices on the board. Valerie just brought up an example today. Northwood High School is begging people for money so their journalism class can publish a newspaper. Like and that's, we're sending our kids to school to learn how to do things, and there's no money for them to do it. But yet our superintendent just hired 2 brand new communication directors, brand new positions that she created. So I think it's very important, I'm kind of speaking on behalf of Valerie, but on behalf of myself as well, that we hire people, that we elect people that are going to make a difference. And Julie is recognizing that, and Valerie is doing that on her social media as well today.
And then I was reading about a superintendent. She's gonna get paid $50,000 to get relocated from where she lives, Montgomery County. Also, she's gonna get some kind of allocation every year. So the money and it just not just here. I have a list of 20 people underneath her. If you add all the the money they make in 1 year, is close to more than $3 million.
So one thing I do want to say, though, from a lot of recent incidents, as well the pandemic, we understand that communication is one area MCPS need to strengthen, need to do better, right? So I do support the hiring of directors in communication area. So hopefully they will bring changes. We can communicate better with the community. I hope the board have a collaborative relationship with Dr. Knight so that we can, the board will create directions which she can come up with planning so that we will move, when we band together, we will move faster and do better for our families and students. So I look forward to being able to really prioritize all the issues within our system and have a plan, say a timeline, a plan with the school system so that we will move forward. It will be a moving goalpost, right? Continually improving our service.
I just want to touch on this. I know we didn't get to meet earlier, but I'm the incoming delegate from District 17, which is Brockville and Gaithersburg. The issue of collaboration is so important because I feel like so often here we act like we are in competition with one another, right? It's the school board or people on the school board versus each other versus the county council versus county government versus the state, when a lot of these issues require a collaborative approach. And you talk about shortage of you talk about the staff in the school. Well, it's a bigger issue than just one school because we have a shortage of educators and school professionals. I'm really glad that you have a community liaison here, right? I think those roles are so important, and I dream of a future where every single school has one and can have the same resources that are available in a community school like this. I think we're making some progress at a state level. We saw the passage of the blueprint. I think that'll bring more investments and hopefully help with recruitment and retention. But we were having a conversation earlier about the challenges facing our educators and just based on the environment in the schools, but also the compensation or lack thereof, right? And Julie and I had a conversation recently with a group of school pathologists who I think were speaking more broadly for related service providers who are upset because they're not getting fair compensation in line with other educators that are seeing that boost because of the blueprint. And we know we have a shortage of mental health professionals and school pathologists and other related service providers. One of my priorities, like Julie was mentioning, is mental health is a crisis in our schools right now. We have a shortage of mental health providers. We have the money for it. It's just the people. So I'm planning on, I know that mental health is going to be a priority in the legislature. So is the shortage of educators. One of my ideas is to take on the issue of student debt facing teachers and facing mental health professionals to see if we can alleviate some of that burden. I had a conversation with a friend from graduate school who said, I would love to go, or his wife who just graduated as a psychologist. She says, I want to go work in a school, but I just can't afford to because of my massive load of debt right now. So hopefully that's one way that we can address the problem. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to pretty significant collaboration.
Yes, and I think the more people you have on your side, the more people from the community, from the government, from our legislation on your side, the better we will be.
I wanted to say really quickly, we're very fortunate. We do have our community school liaison. We also have parent community court. We have 2 parent community coordinators. When there's one of them, they have one cannot be with them. We are very fortunate to have them, and the work they do is invaluable to our students.
Well, one more question.
Okay, go for it. Go for it, Mr. Wright.
Now, this is a emotional touch. First, I want to give you my background. I did 7 years in the U.S. Army. I was deployed twice. I know from firsthand what's gone away from these people. Okay? I lost a lot of friends in combat, so I know what it is. Now, this is security in a school, especially in elementary. Okay? We do not have any type of physical security, meaning no guards, no police, absolutely nothing in elementary. Okay? The only thing MCPS dictates, if I'm wrong, and correct me, is to have active shooter drills. The problem is structures in these schools are not up to date on what is happening. We have doors on the classrooms. Next to the door, what do we have? Big glass. We have connecting doors inside the classrooms. Nothing is bulletproof here. This school doesn't have a fence that goes around the school. When our kids go on recess, they go to those doors, they make a left, and they play in the playground. If you go right, take 10 steps, you're on the street. What is preventing someone with a knife or with a gun getting to those doors? The personnel here doesn't have nothing to defend themselves. What are they gonna do over there when somebody shows up at the door? How are they gonna stop them today? There's no way. There's no way. There's no fence. I talk about the playground. I do volunteer here 2 days, and I do it what we do in recess. Because I don't care if something like that happens one day, I'm willing to whatever happens. I'm doing something on my free time, something that MCPA should be providing us. Things need to change. We're not in the past, like we went to school 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Come on, kids in kinder, they know how to use computers now. 20 years ago, I know how to turn on a computer. So reality is things have changed. We need to change with it. We need new people to change, to help us change. This infrastructure in school needs to be changed in new times. We cannot live in the past. And listen, at the end of the day, we need to be proactive. We need to stop being reactive. We need to wait something to happen, like what happened at the school game or the high school. Now they say, oh, we're gonna do this now. Too late. Too late. And the last thing I wanna say is, at the end of the day, praise and good wishes will not bring our loved ones back to life. We need to do something now.
Thank you. That must be so hard to share. Student safety is one of the top priority. We have to ensure the safety of students and staff. And we know that there are many high-profile incidents happening throughout the nation. But I also know that we need to balance the physical and psychological safety of, of all our students. So, speaking of guns, okay, so there are some policy that's out of the purview of the Board of Education. Gun issue is being one of them. But I know that our schools definitely have a policy of no weapons on our campuses. And also, I personally, because I work in Montgomery High School, which was the high school that had a ghost gun incident at the beginning of this year. So I'm very grateful for our General Assembly really passed the ghost gun legislation this year so that we will get guns away from our students and away from our school buildings. MCPS currently has security personnel in our high schools, and there is a CEO, community engagement officer, that in charge of the whole clusters of engagement and safety. Now, that is a new program that has just been put in this year.